I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm not even supposed to be here today! Oh, fuck you!
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal. Remember, I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fuck me in the ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review. And this movie review is going to be for last weekend's other newest release, Warfare, which is Alex Garland. Well, technically he co-directed this, but this was directed by a war veteran, but this was co-directed by Alex Garland, who had last year directed the film Civil War. So, what is the plot of Warfare? So, Warfare embeds audiences with a platoon of American Navy SEALs on a surveillance mission gone wrong in insurgent territory. This is a boots-on-the-ground story of modern warfare and brotherhood, and it's told in real time based on the memory of the people who lived it. So, now for my reaction to Warfare. So, I just got back from seeing this because Tuesday night I decided to go out and do something, and how was it? Well, I think I would have to say, Warfare, despite would honestly have to be probably the first 10 out of, so far, the best film of 2025. And honestly, A24's second best film behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, this is so far the best film I've seen this year. Like, I'm not sure where to start. Like, when I left the theater, I had quite a few emotions on my mind, and like, the movie actually does fly by pretty smoothly. Like, there's no time to think or breathe. Like, the acting from the people who acted as the real-life soldiers in this film, and the raw emotion in the film accomplishes exactly what it sets out to do. It transports you to pretty much hell on earth, and actually feels like you're actually watching real people and not actors. The camera work is superb, and you can tell every detail went through as planned. And it was pretty much all, and especially considering the main director lived every moment, and co-director Alex Garland. I do like Alex Garland as a filmmaker. He has been involved in several movies I like screenwriter-wise, like the 20 Days Later films. He was the screenwriter for Dread 2012, which was an awesome underrated film from 2012. He directed last year's Civil War, which I also really love. As much as I'm not really too big on Annihilation, and I especially do not like the film Men. Men definitely, I can agree Men is a piece of shit, but honestly, I like most of the other stuff he does. I think he's actually quite a talented filmmaker and screenwriter. So how was this film made? Well, it was around February 2024 last year when A24 announced that they would be developing a war film with Ray Mendoza, the main director of the film, and Alex Garland, the co-director of the film, attached. And it would follow Garland's film Civil War, which Mendoza was the military supervisor of. And the duo wrote the script and planned to direct the film together. At the time of announcement, Charles Melton was in negotiations to star in the film, that Joseph Quinn was considered for the cast as well. The Pharaoh Wu Na Tai was cast in the film with Trey Mendoza himself in March 2024, and the title was confirmed to be Warfare, where Kit Connor, Cosmo Jarvis, Will Poulter, and Finn Bennett got added to the cast as well. Then around that same month, Garland had announced the intentions to step back from directing films and focus on writing, and his directional role in Warfare would be more of a supporting role to Mendoza's. And so filming began in May 2024 in London. So after the film was officially shot, Warfare would go on to be first premiere at the Music Box Theater in Chicago on March 16, 2025, and would eventually be released into theaters in the United States to the public by A24 last weekend on April 11, 2025, around the time I had went and saw Working Man. And in the United Kingdom, it has been released on April 18th, 2025, a week after its US release. And this movie has gotten highly positive reviews from critics, and it definitely very well deserved. and it's made about 8 million opening weekend. Last, like, yeah, you can. This is definitely deserves all the good reviews it got. Like, it holds nothing back. Like, this is definitely one of the most realistic depictions of modern war I've seen in a film. Like, the last time we saw war actually be portrayed very realistic was the film Saving Private Ryan. The sound design, the cinematography, the performances from the actors are all very top tier and well done. Like, although, despite how really great this movie is, it's not really a film you can watch again because it is pretty horrific, but the director, who is a war veteran, really did an outstanding job making the viewers feel for the soldiers. And it's not a film where someone can really just enjoy. Like, this is a film that does stick with you, but it's not a propaganda movie. It's a very gritty and raw story about this mission conducted by the soldiers of the Iraq, by pretty much the military that's in this Iraq, that's on this mission, that's scoping out potential enemies in the area. You don't really get much character development, but like there's not really a film where you're supposed to really have character developments in here. Like this isn't one of those films. Like, this is supposed to be a film about the military on this mission that goes wrong. Right there. It's supposed to show the horrors of the whole Iraq war. And it feels like you're actually a real film during an actual battle that really did happen. And the film is definitely loud when it gets loud. And it also lends to the realism of the moment. The sound design is very powerful. Like, Garland has a way of jolting viewers out of their seats. Like, this is a guy that made me jump out of my seat when I saw Civil War in the theater, and this is the sound of gunfire explosions that's very piercing, and it really riles you like you really are there. Like, you're actually there in the battlefield. And the film is very immersive. Like, you do feel like you are there with them in this whole claustrophobic hell they are. You actually feel all the feelings the soldiers are having. They're scared, they're disoriented, they're shocked, they're traumatized, especially when they get injured. Like, in the cast, like Wu Natai, Cosmo Jarvis, Will Poulter, like, they really bring haughty realism to their roles. Like, you're not really watching these actors play these roles. You're actually kind of enduring. You actually feel like it actually feels like they're actually the people they're playing. Like, and you're enduring all the hell alongside them. That's what really elevates warfare into something more than cinema. Like, and now, like, for someone, like, when it comes to my thoughts on Will Poulter, for someone who's not really too much of a fan of, like, I definitely don't mind him in We're the Millers. I don't mind him in that film. I think he's pretty funny in that film, but this is probably his best performance. Easily. And you know the film Flight Risk got Mel Gibson directed in January? Well, like, this whole movie itself felt much more Mel Gibson-like directed than Flight Risk even did itself. Like, this definitely felt much more Gibson-like. Right here. So, how do we start off this movie? Well, we start off with kind of a bit of a weird intro, in a way, where you actually start off with them watching this aerobics video. And at first, like, when the movie started, I was like, am I in the right movie or something? And at first I thought the screen was broken for a second because it doesn't start off with audio. And I thought there were some technical difficulties for a second, but then the actual, like, sound of the aerobics video starts. And then it cuts to the soldiers watching the aerobics video. And it actually also do start off with a dedication screen and what the viewers are about to watch. And then we get to when it's set, 2006, Romedy, where the Navy SEAL Team Alpha 1 is taking control of this multi-story house with a family inside of it, and for which Communication Officer Ray Mendoza uses air support to monitor the position, and Elliot Miller, the sniper, monitors this neighborhood across the street, and so the translators, named Farid and Noor, alert different families on different floors of the building, and they tell the families to remain silent and in place. And it's like, yeah, this is not like a glamorization or Hollywood factor in warfare here. Like, this is a movie that's actually raw and affecting, and with this kind of film, you have to make it very raw and affecting. And have to make it very realistic. Like, these are based off real people that endured all of this. This is directed by an actual war veteran himself. This film doesn't have character backstories. It's a singular set. There's dialogue of just, well, normal jargon, or there's definitely no music in the film, and the only time there's music is the aerobics video in the beginning and the end credits, and that's about it. And it's like very simple, 95 minutes. Like, it is definitely surprisingly pretty short. It's like 90 minutes of real time to really achieve the impact it has on audiences, and it's very outstanding. And now the trauma and sound design as well crafted in warfare is very incredible. Like, this is a film where I've definitely when I was watching this in a theater, like, I definitely was pretty rattled at all the gunshots and explosions, and the gunshots are not epic. The gunshots are actually terrifying. Any scream from the soldiers, like, whenever they're injured or wounded, is very gut-wrenching. Like, warfare, like, really, it actually felt like watching Saving Private Ryan again. And that's still, and also, who should know, Saving Private Ryan to me is still the best war movie. Right there. And, like, the cast, like, definitely, like I've said before, they deserve equally incredible praise. Like, the authenticity of Warfare really does also hinge on the cast performances. Like, they deliver this tough task, especially, like, having to play their real-life counterparts on set watching them, and the pressure, like, to get the whole physicalness and the emotionalness of each beat. Like, you can tell these must have been very hard roles to play. Like, you're having to play these real life military officers, and for those who wonder what combat really does look like this movie throws you right into a day in the life of a combat veteran. There's, like, no sugarcoating lightheartedness. There's no unrealistic heroics, and there's no bravados either. Like, you're actually put in the minds of each of these roles as they have to survive the horror of facing their own mortality on this mission, and with the will to press on. So, after we've gotten a little familiar with the mission that's about to take place, Ray and Elliot notice an increasing activity, and so Eric assigns the translators to guard various parts of the building as Ray communicates their situation right there. And so, and for a while, it kind of starts off with, for a bit, just kind of them observing the area. And then eventually, like, the terrifying action scene starts when a grenade gets thrown into the room where Elliot gets positioned, and so Elliot is, like, badly injured right there, like, on his hand. Like, the first injury, it's not as much of a disturbing injury scene as, like, the next ones that happen. So the team then calls in Bradley to immediately have to medically evacuate Elliot, but then IED then immediately explodes as they're about to evacuate. One of the translators is killed, and now both Sam and Elliot are wounded, like the sniper and the medic, and the Bradley then just departs. Like happens here is that both their legs are, like, burned, and you get quite a while of them tending to the injuries, and, like, this was definitely a very horrific scene to watch. Right there, like their screams are gut wrenching, and when you see the wounds, you see them in close up, and you see them actually tending to one, and then the sound just drops out completely. Like, this is definitely a very hauntingly well filmed moment right here, and Mendoza and Garland really embed audiences in the ranks of these SEALs when the whole movie they occupy a 2-story building and wind up besieged by scores of Al Qaeda insurgents playing away at them from rooftops, skywalking street corners, and the cacophony of gunfire explosions and the screaming of agony, like, it really does well in shredding on the viewer's nerves. So, like, this is not a typical traditional Hollywood movie. This is actually a very gritty, raw, depressing film right there. And so, if you're expecting something like that, if you're expecting something like a Hollywood epic, you're not going to get that here. This isn't that kind of movie. It doesn't want to be that kind of movie. And I'm actually glad it wasn't that kind of movie. Mendoza and Garland really keep exposition to a minimum, and nobody delivers an inspirational call to enter the breach. And of course, the absence of any score or music throughout was actually a great choice. I actually glad we did not have any music here. Only for, like, the aerobics video and the end credits. And you only use the sound of the environment, and it adds a great deal of suspense and tension, and no music actually makes the movie actually feel very realistic, and actually feels like you're not even watching a movie. It feels like you're actually watching footage of a real mission. And it adds another layer of stress and the chaos of the whole fight. Like, it's a rare film that doesn't really rely on the typical war cinematic techniques in those war films, like slow motion or dramatic scores. Like, you get right here. You're actually getting a really stripped down, raw, unfiltered look at a situation where winning and losing do take a backseat to staying alive. That's what matters most in the film. So after after a while attending to their injuries, and Alpha 1 then retreats and reorganizes into the house to tend to the wounded, and Ray communicates their situation. Then a discombobulated Eric then tries to get to the nearby Alpha 2 to collapse into the position, but the firefights then slow down the team though, and McDonald and Ray still have to tend to Elliot Sam, trying to nurse her injuries and providing them with morphine. One of them fucks up the first dose by accidentally putting it into his thumb, but he's all right, and so he still has another one, so he properly injects that one into Sam or Elliot, but definitely one of them. And then Alpha 2, on the other hand, makes it to Alpha 1's building and discover the Bradleys are unwilling to return because they fear the IEDs, and so Eric asks the leader of Alpha 2, Jake, to immediately control the situation. So the latter ends up convincing the communications officer, John, to pose as the commanding officer to approve the request to redeploy the Bradleys for evacuation. So every element is executed to perfection right here. Like the sound design, like the casting, the writing, the set design, the editing, the acting, it melts together and it really works. Every scene does well in actually getting the viewer on the edge of their seat, and it does really leave you with a gut punch right here. Like, hell, I'm still thinking about this movie itself walking out of it. It's like, once the movie ended, like, almost me and one other audience member got out of our seats when the credits rolled. Like, Alice Garland really hits the nail on the head with this one. And the truth behind the harrowing story really does make it very mesmerizing right here. And if there's a film that I hope does get nominated for Best Picture by the end of the year, I really hope at least this gets nominated for it. I really hope that this does. And if it gets snubbed, I will be very furious. Like, this film definitely deserves an Oscar nod for that. It deserves an Oscar nod for sound design right here, and cinematography. And honestly, Best Director too. Right here, like, this is definitely a film that's not for the faint of heart. Like, you have the raw horror of what war really is, and it really is depicted well with intensity. Like, the theatrical experience, like, was actually very well earned and terrific. And right here, like, and like if you're also expecting like when it comes to who the protagonist is, there's not really a real main specific protagonist. The protagonist is actually all the soldiers you're watching. There is no main character or bad guy. It's not a traditional hero story. It's a boots on the ground depiction of this team that's navigating the operation they're in. And even when everything's done right, there's always a chance things can still go catastrophically wrong. And the concept is simple because it's this real life ambush mission during the Iraq War. And it provides like so much detail to what went on that day, and it feels authentic into cutting out most of the stuff and focusing on the characters reacting to what's going on. And the plot structure is definitely non-traditional because this movie's not really trying to tell a story. The movie just wants you to experience what these characters are going through as if you're really there. And there is a linear plot structure, what little plot they have, and the character writing as a group, like, it's good as the movie is about the trauma these characters are experiencing. So, now we get on to the finale of the film, where Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 have successfully loaded. They're wounded into the Bradleys and exit the neighborhood just as the tanks arrive, finally. And then the families in the house, they realize the military has long left, and then, of course, the Iraq fighters that were shooting at them in the film from nearby houses, they gather into the street. And that is how warfare ends, right there. Before the credits roll, you do get pictures of the real-life soldiers the actors were playing, that their actors' roles were based off of, and a picture of all the soldiers themselves all together. Right here, some even reuniting, some returning home. And of course, kind of like a dedication to them. And then the credits roll right there, and like me and one audience member were the only ones that left when the credits roll. Like, almost everybody else just sat in their seats, and like the lights didn't even come on. The lights were still dimmed. Yeah. It was definitely quite an impactful movie. Now, would I have any bad qualities? I honestly don't really. I mean, the opening scene was, the way the movie opened with the aerobics video was kind of a little weird at first, but it's not really necessarily much of a bad quality per se. Not in my eyes. Like, not in my eyes, but honestly, I wouldn't really have any bad qualities than right there, and those who are probably expecting a blockbuster film would probably be disappointed, but personally, I'm actually glad this was not a blockbuster film. This would not work as a blockbuster film, and I'm like, it's only 95 minutes. This would not work as a 2-hour movie right there, and 95 minutes was actually perfect for a film like this. So, honestly, I kind of think the movie's flawless in my eyes, and I think this is a film that definitely deserves to be seen this year. In the end, Warfare is totally worth buying for your war movie collection if you want to see a movie that really captures the horrors and traumas of war, and also really want to see one that actually feels like you're really in the whole battlefield and actually in all the hell that goes along with it, and one that really captivates you to your screen, and one that really makes you really feel all the emotions and the horrors that these actors playing the characters were going through. Anyways, guys, that's it for my view of Warfare. If we're going to rank Warfare, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you are a fan of movies that depicts the traumas and horrors of war in a very realistic way, then I would totally watch it by Warfare for your collection for sure. And if you're going to rank Warfare, I'm going to give Warfare a flat out 10 out of 10. There we go, guys. That wraps up my review for Warfare. Now, I want to know in the comments down below what you guys thought about Warfare. For those who have seen the movie, whether you loved it, whether you just weren't too big of a fan of it. But yeah, I want to know in the comments down below what your guys' opinions on the film. And until then, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe to Don G. Corleone.